Tonight, 85 million Americans bracing for the first in a series of dangerous storms. A serious snowmaker hitting the Northeast right now. The storm already pounding the Midwest with driving snow. Cars skidding off highways. Major cities now preparing for the worst of it.
All hands on deck to make sure we get those roads cleared this weekend.
We are timing out this storm and the one coming right behind it. The unprecedented security challenge in New Orleans with the Super Bowl just hours away. We take you inside the plan to keep 100,000 fans and the president safe just weeks after that terror attack there. The investigation into the plane crash in Alaska, what we now know about the 10 people killed, and the NTSB press conference late today. President Trump pulling security clearance for former President Biden, and the latest judge to block Elon Musk's plan for a government agency. NBC News investigates the dangerous staffing shortages at juvenile detention centers, how it leads to frightening scenes like this. Plus, the robbery caught on camera. What did the crooks steal? Hundreds of eggs. The nationwide crisis as egg prices skyrocket. Trader Joe's now rationing them.
I actually went to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Publix. There's no eggs anywhere.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. The weather hits keep on coming for the eastern half of the country. Just days after a storm system brought snow and spun off tornadoes, a new rain and snowmaker hitting right now. Across the Midwest, they're digging out tonight after the system swept through, dumping up to 11 inches in some parts. The salt trucks and plows are hard at work already in major cities like New York and Boston. Parts of the Northeast could get up to a foot by the time the sun is up tomorrow. But wait, there's more. Another snowmaker lining up right behind this one. We are covering it all tonight, and we begin with Maya Eaglin in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Tonight, a major winter storm is barreling across the country, bringing heavy snow and icy conditions to millions of people. Minnesota getting hit hard, dozens of cars spinning off the road and crashing.
MnDOT has reported that there were around 70 accidents overnight, spin-outs, accidents, people off the road, and that was just as of 8 a.m.
In South Dakota, snow-covered roads making driving treacherous as plows try to stay ahead of the snow. Across the country, hundreds of flights have been canceled and thousands delayed. In several states, including Minnesota, de-icing procedures underway for planes like this one before takeoff.
We've got winter weather advisories.
The Northeast bracing for the storm to hit.
Looks like it's going to be a statewide plowable event.
In West Hartford, Connecticut, Kyle Randall has been selling salt and ice melt to dozens of contractors and residents.
How are people in this area feeling about the upcoming storm?
Seems like they're a bit nervous. Some of the other stores really close by to us are out of salt, so a lot more people have been coming here.
Maya joins us now from West Hartford, Connecticut. And Maya, the snow is set to start there soon. Are they ready for it?
They're starting to prepare, Jose. This company has been selling sand and salt to customers all day long. We heard from the state DOT that over 600 of these plows are going to be hitting the highways and roads. Jose?
Maya Eaglin in Connecticut, thank you. Let's get right to WNBC meteorologist Matt Brakeman. And Matt, this storm is just getting started in the Northeast.
Yeah, we've got winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings in effect throughout the Northeast. 85 million people impacted by the storm, and most of them are going to see significant snow. This warm front's the dividing line. North of there, you should see mainly snow. South, sleet, freezing rain, and rain. So that's what to expect in and around Philly and D.C. But for New York City and up through New England, this should be mainly snow tonight and then early tomorrow as it quickly moves offshore and should deliver some significant snow totals, especially in New England. 6 to 8 for Hartford and Boston. 8 to 12 back towards Albany, and 2 to 5 in and around New York City. And this isn't all we're tracking. We get a chance to catch our breath on Monday. Then another storm comes in on Tuesday, likely delivering snow south of New York City and towards D.C. Jose?
Matt Brakeman, thank you. Record heat, meanwhile, in New Orleans today ahead of tomorrow's Super Bowl, where a massive security operation is underway to keep visitors, including President Trump, safe after last month's deadly terror attack there. Jesse Kirsch got a behind-the-scenes look at how the city is getting ready.
On Super Bowl Eve, tonight New Orleans security passing a major stress test with a fortified pregame parade.
This is the first time that this has ever happened, that we have this much security.
Does it feel like the right thing to have right now?
It feels like the excellent thing to happen right now.
The parade just blocks from Bourbon Street, where a terrorist killed 14 people New Year's Day. Super Bowl 59's lead federal coordinator says the attack altered this weekend's security plan.
The governor sent additional bollards in. We brought in National Guard, and I brought in more personnel as well.
With over 100,000 people, including President Trump, expected downtown tomorrow, authorities will be fanned out across the city, in the sky, and on the Mississippi River.
And beyond patrolling the water, boats like these will be able to get emergency personnel downtown in minutes if the streets are jammed.
Federal authorities say in an emergency, state and local officials would make decisions with the NFL.
For anyone who is skeptical of this city, of this state's ability to make sound judgment calls with an event like this, what would you tell that person?
I would tell them that the city and the state have made concerted efforts and are continuing to make concerted efforts to keep their citizens safe. We've worked really well with them to make sure that they have the resources they need to do that.
Jesse is outside the Superdome tonight. Jesse, this is the first time a sitting president will attend a Super Bowl. Does that complicate security there?
Well, Jose, the Department of Homeland Security tells us that preparations were made with the possibility of a presidential visit in mind. So now you can expect authorities to work with the Secret Service to make sure President Trump and all of the other fans inside this stadium are safe tomorrow. Jose?
Jesse Kirsch in New Orleans, thank you. We are learning more tonight about the people on board that plane that crashed not far from Nome, Alaska, killing 10. The NTSB updating late today with new information on the investigation. Dana Griffin has the latest.
Now, recovery efforts are still underway, with the priority being victim recovery. Then we will recover the wreckage.
Tonight, NTSB Chair Jennifer Hominy in Alaska investigating the Bering Air Flight 445 plane crash that left all 9 passengers and the sole pilot dead. But there are challenges.
We do have a short window where we have weather, bad weather coming in, some snow. This is on an ice flow, which is moving about 5 miles a day.
The Cessna Grand Caravan took off Thursday afternoon from Unalakleet, heading northwest to Nome.
Bering Air 445, check your altitude immediately.
Just 12 miles offshore, the plane vanished amid freezing temperatures and snow. According to the Nome Fire Department, the pilot told air traffic controllers he intended to enter a holding pattern while waiting for the runway to be cleared. Co-workers Rome Baumgartner and Cameron Hartvigsen were among those on board on a trip to service critical infrastructure. Their organization writing that they made a lasting impact on rural communities across our state. This is the third major aviation disaster in a little over a week. In Washington, 67 were killed when an American Eagle jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided. Days later in Philadelphia, a medevac jet crashed, killing 7. In Alaska, loved ones now waiting for answers in yet another heartbreaking aviation tragedy. Dana Griffin, NBC News.
Overseas now, 3 more Israeli hostages were released by Hamas today. This is the moment Or Levy was reunited with his loved ones after 491 days. Yasmin Vasugian is in Tel Aviv tonight. And Yasmin, there are some real concerns over this latest round of hostages released.
Yeah, Jose, all 3 hostages released today. And as you can see from these images taken before October 7th compared to now, they all appear very thin and gaunt. Or Levy at times appearing to need help walking. Also, for the first time since these latest releases began, the hostages were made to speak to a crowd before they were handed over to the Red Cross, saying the war must end and that Hamas did not harm them. Prime Minister Netanyahu calling the images of the hostages shocking. But Israel did release 183 Palestinian prisoners today in exchange. Talks on phase 2 of these fragile ceasefire negotiations resuming this weekend, with 70-plus hostages remaining in captivity, including 2 Americans, Jose.
Yasmin Vasugian in Tel Aviv, thank you. This morning, another judge throwing a legal roadblock in the way of President Trump and Elon Musk's attempts to reshape the federal workforce. Aaron Gilchrist is traveling with the president in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Loud protests as President Trump left his Florida golf course this afternoon, just hours after federal judges slammed the brakes on his frenzied effort to slash the federal workforce and spending.
We can have big cuts that don't affect anybody, waste, fraud, and abuse, and we're finding it now. That's one of the beauties of what Elon's doing.
A federal judge today temporarily blocking Elon Musk and his team from accessing sensitive Treasury Department records, including the Social Security numbers and financial info of millions of Americans. 19 state attorneys general sued the federal government, saying it violated federal law by giving Musk access to the data. Another judge on Friday paused a midnight deadline to place thousands of workers at the U.S. Agency for International Development on administrative leave, and ordered workers already put on leave to be reinstated until after a hearing next Friday. The White House not reacting to the legal moves, but also not slowing down. Mr. Trump dining with Republican senators at his Mar-a-Lago estate last night, saying he's directed Musk to keep going.
I'd like you to look at Department of Education, and I think you're going to find it's very similar, different but similar. And go into the military, go into everything.
Meanwhile, Trump also taking to Truth Social, announcing he's revoking former President Joe Biden's security clearance, adding Biden could not be trusted with sensitive information. In a second post, the president announcing he's gutting the Board of Trustees at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts and installing himself as the new chair. The Kennedy Center saying it supports the arts in a nonpartisan fashion and that some board members have received termination notices.
Aaron is traveling with the president in West Palm Beach. And Aaron, President Trump is preparing to do a major interview?
Yeah, Jose, Mr. Trump is sitting down for a Fox News interview that will air during the Super Bowl pregame tomorrow, a presidential tradition that former President Biden skipped the last 2 years. Jose?
Eric Gilchrist, thank you. And join Kristen Welker tomorrow for Meet the Press. One of her guests, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Still ahead tonight, an NBC News investigation, the growing crisis at our nation's juvenile detention centers, understaffed and increasingly dangerous. And next, a brazen egg heist caught on camera as prices skyrocket and the mad scramble to get eggs as grocery stores run out. The egg shortage across America is reaching a new level. Prices are way up, and now major supermarkets are forcing customers to ration. Eggs are so valuable now, crooks are starting to steal them by the tens of thousands. George Solis has the latest.
Tonight, the drama over the country's egg crisis reaching new heights. This video showing the brazen robbery of a cafe in western Seattle by so-called breakfast bandits making off with 3 cases of eggs.
I really think they planned ahead. This can't be like, let's rob the eggs.
Seattle police now asking for the public's help to crack this case. And in Pennsylvania,
I don't know how someone would be able to do that.
Authorities still searching for those behind the theft of 100,000 eggs from a processing plant last week. Some grocery stores left with none on the shelves, and national chain Trader Joe's now limiting shoppers to just 1 dozen a day. TikTok videos showing Costco customers across the country desperate to buy in bulk, all as the spread of bird flu ravages the nation's egg supply. According to the CDC, more than 156 million poultry birds have been affected by H5N1, or avian flu, across the U.S. since the start of 2022. More than 20 outbreaks detected during the first 5 days of this month. The USDA reporting the average price across the country now more than $7 a dozen. In South Florida, backyard chicken farmer Tracy Swaite's hobby has become a business.
And without a shadow of a doubt, you will sell out today.
Oh, we will sell out probably before lunch.
Customers here with no other option.
I actually went to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Publix. There's no eggs anywhere.
At Swaite's home, dozens of chickens are pumping out the prized protein.
If you want to buy your girlfriend something expensive this year, Valentine's Day, get her eggs.
Some deciding to create their own supply. Rent the Chicken helps facilitate backyard chicken coops for homeowners.
We're super busy. Phones are ringing. Our online inquiry form is filling up quickly.
As Americans scramble to find creative ways to solve a problem that won't be over easy. George Solis, NBC News, Southwest Ranches, Florida.
Still ahead, NBC News investigates the growing chaos and dangers at youth detention centers. Plus, a hero's homecoming. The military surprise that brought one family to tears. We're back with an NBC News investigation into a growing crisis at youth detention centers, many understaffed, putting the guards and those in custody at risk. Steve Patterson has the story and a warning. Some of the images may be disturbing.
Police with riot gear, people running around, the facility being closed.
Los Angeles County's juvenile detention facilities have been mired in chaos. In this 2020 incident, video shows a teen screaming in pain, pleading for his mother as a group of officers hold him down. In 2023, officers rushed to lock down this facility during a riot in which youth attempted to escape. And this incident from the same year, video showing a teen repeatedly beaten by other youth while officers watched. That incident happened at the county's last standing juvenile hall, Los Padrinos. It houses youth ranging in age from 13 to 25, awaiting trial for serious charges, including robbery and murder.
You think we're dealing with angels, we're not dealing with angels.
Mike Davis is a deputy probation officer and leader at the Los Angeles County Deputy Probation Officers Union. He blames poor management and the boundaries placed on staff for the dysfunction.
In the last 5 days, you had 4 staff assaults. This is the stuff that we're dealing with. But yet, you tell us that we're supposed to do a 100% job with a 10% tools.
He says officers no longer feel safe coming to work.
Staffing is so inconsistent due to the fact that staff just trying to survive when they go in there.
This has pushed Los Padrinos to a crisis point. According to the latest data from the Deputy Probation Officers Union, more than 40% of staff are out on leave.
We need to hire more probation officers who will show up to work.
State inspectors found that the insufficient staffing meant juveniles were left in their cells for inordinate amounts of time with no staff available to escort them to schooling and even the bathroom. The situation getting so bad that in October, state regulators declared it unsuitable, ordering the transfers of more than 200 youth. The relationship between some staff and juveniles at facilities like Los Padrinos has long been a source of litigation, with thousands of former juvenile detainees alleging sexual and physical abuse over the years.
I was a resident of Los Padrinos. I was abused in there by a staff member, and it was horrible.
What I went through in LP affected me my entire life.
We spoke to Steven, who spent time at Los Padrinos for charges that include assault with a deadly weapon.
I've seen a lot of things that a normal 13-year-old isn't supposed to see.
Now 21, he's been in and out of the system since he was 13.
When you think back to your time there, what feeling do you feel?
Just desperation to get out. Like I felt like they were just treated like animals.
Experts like former DOJ official Liz Ryan say all these issues are not unique to LA.
When we look across the country, there are lawsuits about the conditions in a number of these facilities.
She says ultimately the approach to juvenile justice needs to change.
Juvenile justice system was developed as an alternative to the adult criminal justice system. What we see is that in some places it starts to mirror the adult criminal justice system.
For now, uncertainty remains as a judge has yet to decide the fate of Los Padrinos and what it will mean for staff and the youth in their care. Steve Patterson, NBC News, Los Angeles.
When we come back, there's good news tonight. The Super Bowl surprise that had this high school student jumping for joy. There's good news tonight. So often the good news doesn't get as much attention as the bad. So every Saturday, we highlight the many people who spread joy and love. And these are just some of those stories this week. There were tears of joy for this surprise near Boulder, Colorado. Students and staff at Hygiene Elementary School cheering on Counselor Amy Ward, running into the arms of her Army Reserve husband, Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Ward. She and their 4 kids thrilled to finally have him back after a 10-month assignment overseas.
I was just so excited and happy and that we were all together.
It wasn't just a celebration of our family, it was also a celebration of the community.
Hear that marching band? It's pumping up the crowd at Sunnyside High School in Fresno, California.
We're sure about one thing, you're going to the Super Bowl! Yes, you're going to the Super Bowl!
where Junior Gabriel Garcia, a varsity wrestler who's been battling cancer, got Super Bowl tickets from the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
They made your wish, Gabriel.
Giving Gabriel and his mom a chance for some big fun in the Big Easy.
I'm excited!
It's been a pleasure to be your chief.
In Reno, Nevada, a final radio call for Truckee Meadows Fire Chief Charlie Moore.
Chief Moore, Chief Augie here. Wish you a long and healthy retirement, full of peace and joy. Thank you, Chief.
Charlie, retiring after 45 years in fire service, moved to tears as his colleagues and firefighter son, Cameron, honored him one after the other.
As both your son and as one of your captains, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for everything.
What was the best part of your job?
We've saved hundreds of lives over the years. It's just so satisfying to be able to say you dedicated your life to that.
Charlie, take me to that day when you heard those special messages over the radio. What were you feeling?
Just the gratitude from my crew, and 45 years. It was special.
Charlie plans to travel in his retirement, and we wish him the best and thank him for his decades of service. That's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Ellie Jackson will be here tomorrow night. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and good night.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.